Now, today is the anniversary of Shakespeare's birthday, and of course that's especially relevant to us here at Berryfields because he was born just down the road from here at Stratford-upon-Avon. And I can think of no better way of marking that date than spending time in an English country garden in spring. And look, as if in celebration, all the tulips have come out just in the last few days. It's as though a shot of electricity has been fired through them, and all these colours are working in a quite zany way. However, there are touches of taste in our border. Look here, you've got the green against green, real subtlety to be picked up. And it's funny how when you plant up a border, nothing much happens for the first season. It can be healthy and you get the odd flower and it looks nice, but it has no volume. But wait a year and suddenly you get this surge of growth and you discover all sorts of things about it that you might not have planned. There are self-seeding plants. Some plants don't grow as fast as you expected. Others just romp away and it needs managing. And to be honest, this is part of gardening I absolutely love. But I'm going to start with quite a big job, which is dealing with this Onopordum. And I do need protection for this because of all the plants in the garden, I think Onopordum is probably the spikiest of the lot. It's too far forward and it's hiding a rose that's behind there. And the only answer is to remove it because it will just get bigger and it'll get more woody, and that is no good. So I can afford to be ruthless. This lovely opium poppy has worked its way along the border and it's great until it reaches here. And for some reason, we've got a great mass that have germinated. And yet on the other side, there's just a handful. And the net result is that we have both an unbalanced border, and the idea is the two are not symmetrical, but they should harmonize with each other. And also, it's blocking plants. And the only thing to do is to pull them up. And they should come out fairly easily. And I'm going to put them down carefully because I can cut the flower heads off, plunge them into boiling water, and they will stay fresh in a vase for a few days. Put that to one side. But if I leave them in the ground, you're going to find young plants in a border like this will be shaded out and will suffer. And I think that people don't realise how important light is, even on a robust shrub in its early days. Now in the middle, I want to put another miscanthus. This is Miscanthus sinensis silverfeather, or silver feather. And in fact, it's not so much silver that I like about it, but it's touched with gold. And you can see, certainly there's a metallic sheen to these flowers. And when the light hits it in certain angles, it's as though gold thread is wound round it. I love it. And it will last all winter, and you leave it well into spring before clearing it back so the new growth can come through. And this will grow up through here and give us some volume in the middle of the border.
When herbaceous borders were the real thing, they'd be dug up every couple of years and divided. And the whole idea was that that rejuvenated your plants, but of course the great thing is it also means you get extra ones for free. Now this is this traditional fork to fork method. You put your two forks in. I'm using these on this Hemeroculus. This is definitely the best way of splitting daylilies, Niphofias, anything that's got these big, solid crowns and long roots. And you just use the forks as a lever. You push them together, and with a bit of luck, they divide up beautifully.
Now just look at these long borders. They're fantastic, still going very strong. We've got the golden hues creeping in and we've got seed heads forming, and we're going to leave most of those seed heads on the plants through the winter to attract the birds in so they can feed on them. And before the weather deteriorates too much, we need to gather those seeds. I'm going to start with this red auroch, and this has to be especially dry. And what I'm going to do is literally just pull it off with my hand, just get the seed pods and the seeds in it, and I'll show you exactly how dry it is. I mean, if I just pour some on my hand there, you can see the black seed are there in with the pods, and actually there's a lot of pods still full of seed as well. And when they get a bit drier, they'll pop open and we can collect the seed. Not only can you see when seeds are ripe, but sometimes you can also hear it. Isn't that like mini maracas? Brilliant, aren't they? These oriental poppies are fabulous, and this poppy head is so cleverly designed. They've got a little cap on them which keeps the rain out, and at the same time they've got these holes to let the air get in there and circulate around and dry the seed and contain it all at the same time. Plants are clever, you know. And just to show you how many you get in one seed head, look at that. They're just pouring out, absolutely pouring out.
Well, I am delighted with the way that the long borders have developed. There is some more tweaking to be done, a bit more orange at the hot end, spreading the blues a bit more evenly through the central section, and some of our original planting already needs dividing and moving. But that's gardening, that's what it's all about. And in the end, we've achieved what I set out to do, which is to create a fabulous floral display from early in spring till late in autumn. Going from the classical grandeur of our long borders to the most enclosed and contemporary part of Berryfields, we come to the courtyard. When Joe Swift, the garden designer, joined our team in the spring of 2005, he immediately expressed an interest to work in this space. And when he first came in, it was still filled with the plants and pots left over from our previous Christmas special. But when he had cleared these, I was really keen to see what ideas he had for it. What's the plan, Joe?
Well, this place has a very different feel from anywhere in Berryfields. It's a courtyard garden, it's all paved, it's got these high walls all the way around it. So I wanted to do something quite contemporary with it. It's 8 metres by 3 metres, or roughly 30 feet by 10.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Us oldies like to know that
For
sort
you
of thing.
oldies. Yeah. But I wanted to just bring it up to date. I thought we'd do some seating, build in some seating, some pots, get some big plants in here, because there's only one rose here. That's all planting.
Oh, what a
ones.
rose. Beautiful.
Is it? I have never seen a flower.
It's guinea, wonderful, rich red, and
Okay.
it's now beginning to train, you know, nicely along the wall.
Yeah, no, it's been pruned beautifully. It looks great. But I also want to get some hanging baskets in here. Yeah. Maybe a water feature, not sure. I think the sound of water would be lovely in here.
While you start, I'm going to go and do something I bet you won't have in here, which is the lawn.
OK. There are 2 key issues in this courtyard. One is that we can't permanently plant into the ground because everywhere's paved. And the other one is that there's nowhere to sit here. So I thought I'd combine those 2 issues together and build some planters with a seat in between them at the end here. Now, we're going to use these lovely oak railway sleepers. I'm going to line it with an old compost bag. This is going to help retain the moisture and also stop the soil seeping out.
Once Joe had finished the oak planters, he then got going on some contemporary containers.
This Xanthodicia is a really good plant, and we're using here a multi-purpose organic compost. They like plenty of water, so we're going to keep them well watered in. And these Xanthodicias just keep flowering their socks off all spring, and they'll go right through the summer as well. Really, really nice plant. And in this one, we're going to go for one of my favourites, Euphorbia purpurea. I mean, that's got the lot as well, and it looks great together with that. Again, the maroon, the acid yellow, the fresh green, and the foliage. But these do have a sap, which if you get it on your skin, it can be a real irritant, can be a problem. That's why I'm not planting them in here next to the bench. So they're going to be planted over here, and I'm going to put 3, I think, in this pot here. And it works very well with the zinc for the planters. Now, these 3 pots are going to give us really good colour through the spring and the summer. But for some evergreen, or should I say ever-silver colour, we're going to use 2 of these. Astelia chatamanica silver spear, a really good plant, great in shade, good architectural foliage, and they're going to be planted underneath here, underneath this Tracheospermum jasminoides, which is one of my favourite climbers. It will grow well in shade, it's clothed neatly to the ground in evergreen foliage, and in the summer has a small but very sweetly scented jasmine-like flower. Really good plant. And this combination, a simple combination, is going to be a great backdrop for all the colour in front. I'm really excited about the courtyard garden. The design's working out very well. Last time we were here, we put the oak bench and the planters at the end, and we've put another oak planter in here at the same level, and a new bench here. And it means you can get more people in here to sit down. So this is looking good, and we're going to plant this up a bit later. But I also want to get some height into this garden. So I wanted to put a pergola in to grow some climbing plants across. Look at this. This is a Wisteria floribunda prematura, and it's gorgeous. It's in flower at the moment, which means it's going to flower again. It's a good sign. The key is to buy one that's already in flower. If you grow one from seed, you might be waiting 20 years for it to flower, whereas the ones that you buy from the garden centre these days in flower are grafted onto a more mature rootstock, and that's going to encourage it to grow more vigorously and flower quicker. I'm just going to train it onto here, just angle it slightly, get his leader up there and just start twining it up, and that'll be up and over there in no time. And when it flowers, we're going to have huge sort of big flowers dangling down like huge grapes. It's going to look fantastic. And it's also going to create a ceiling to this space and an archway. It's like a second entrance as you come through. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. For my water feature, I'm going to use a pump that turns out 900 litres an hour because of the depth of the water feature to the height of the source is over a metre. But I can always adjust it down if I need, if it's too powerful. The first thing to do is line the inside of the water feature with underlay or old carpet. This protects the liner from damage from any sharp edges. There are lots of different liners that you can choose from, varying in cost and quality. I'm using a butyl liner because it's long-lasting and also gives me the flexibility I need. I'm nailing a wooden batten around the top edge of the liner to hide it and fix it. Now, it's important that the liner can't be seen at the end. I'm feeding the electrical cable from the pump underneath the batten because I can't go through the liner. Now, remember to do this before you finish the job. I'm scoring 2 lines to mark the centre of each slate, and then I'm drilling with a 20mm masonry bit right through the middle. Put the pond pump into the bottom and secure with engineering bricks. It's important to use engineering bricks as they won't disintegrate when they get wet. Feed the plastic pipe through the hole in the slates and then start stacking the slates on top of the bricks. Now, we're creating a spiral here, twisting them as they go up, and in total we've got 10 slates. And the last thing to do is turn on the pump, and voila! Well, I'm really pleased with it. I got a bit wet in the making, but it adds a whole new dimension to this garden. I particularly like the sound of it.